Hey you guys, it is Sunday, January 9th, and it is time for an update, a January update, but also a post-freeze update, because about a week ago there was a 30-degree freeze here in the garden. Now I wasn't around for it, I was in Costa Rica at the time, so there was zero protection that happened for it, and so there was some value in that, getting to see what happens without any worries or any help or any care at all. So let's take a look around the garden. The plum had set a bunch of fruit. It's not a bunch, but it has set a few. They got frozen in the freeze a little bit too much, but that was not the right time of year anyway for these guys. So hopefully we get another fruit set in the spring. And then over here at the chaya behind me, we got to see the really light damage. There's actually green leaves right in here still alive. So even though there's a little bit of trunk damage and sap and a lot of damage to the top leaves, it didn't fully freeze down to the ground. Same with the Alocasia, there was just a little bit of new leaf damage, but for the most part it's okay. And then over here at the garden, it's kind of the same story, very light damage. You can see on some of the Swiss chard, and well, the peppers got taken out right here. There's a little bit of discoloration on the kale, and of course the tomatoes. We're going to harvest all those green tomatoes because most of them are completely undamaged. So there's still a lot of value, but also some opportunities to replant some new things. So I moved some of the house plants in before we left to go to Costa Rica, but a lot of them were also left out. We have pencil cactus with some decent damage, aloes without any damage, so it just was right at that threshold. Plumeria seems to have terminal bud damage, but a good stem. So it's a good feedback for all these little guys. I think I was probably warmer than some. There's a good bit of damage on that star fruit, even though it had water tanks. But I do believe the stem will be good on it and it will come back. And then this is really cool. These citrus seedlings had young tender leaves and they're completely undamaged. It looks like Turk's cap is, down, but all of the big citrus don't have any damage on them. So that's nice to see. This is a castor bean. There was a bit of a loss with the peppers. So over here to the side, there was a lot of peppers that could have been harvested that are a bit frozen. Freeze damage. So even though the Pakistan mulberry has defoliated, all of the buds are still good. It wasn't that strong of a freeze, and hopefully it has a good spring. I see a lot of woodier mushrooms, so this is very harvestable timing wise. We have a little jelly goodness for me. Papaya. Most of that fruit will be, well, the bottom ones will be able to counter ripen, and most of the top is a loss. The citrus right here did get some leaf damage at the top on the Shiranui, but none of the stem is damaged. So if we make it through winter the rest of the way, it will be back with a vengeance. That'll be good. There's actually damage though on pineapple guava right there. That's unexpected. So just different, something. We just got a big rain last night, so it was 5+ inches. So that's why this is all filled up full. It's cool seeing the Kishu seedless mandarin so tall now and not a bit of damage from the cold. But there is a lot of damage back here we can go see. Alright, so Curcuma Ginger is going to be back from the roots, but fully damaged. This is the Marumi kumquat, that I grafted this last spring, and so that's going to be a fun first season. And there were a couple of miwa on the other half of this tree. We have damage on a lot of the houseplants that I wasn't able to take in, so like philodendrons and things. But I do believe this stem is still alive, so I might come back and wrap it or protect it at a later date. I just saw the minnows swimming back, so it's good to know that there's still Gambuzia in that pond. Let's see what else. A little bit, so the Buddha's hand right here, or Buddha's palm, is this Alocasia. You can see the older leaves got damaged, right, on the outside, but not the inner leaves. And I know that that wasn't from just the last few days, so that's kind of interesting. That it must have been colder right down low. But either way, super grateful that it has some green leaves, and super impressed. This other Alocasia, not so much. And that Piper will be back. So, Daisy's joining us. What else to see? With the bananas over here, I'm not so worried. They're going to be able to grow back up from the trunks. So only the outside is damaged right now. The inside is just fine. And the yam up on top of the pine tree, that's a good time for it to come down. So the avocados are all fine. 30 degrees is nothing for them. And if you see, we're just starting to open up our blossoms. Come see. And so we'll get some bees and flies visiting, especially if we have a dry next week. These low temps in the evenings won't matter at all, but a pretty decent bloom, and hopefully some avocados in our future. Let's see. Blueberries are blooming. So blueberries also, I saw on another one where they had bloomed so early they got some freeze damage. This has blossoms now, which is good timing. If they had opened up a week ago, they would have been frosted. But yeah, this is Jewel, and I see a bee right back there, already getting a little nectar. So hopefully a good season of blueberries. And Daisy's following us around, like part of the crew. So all of this is frozen out wing jam, and we harvested this yam yesterday, or maybe it was the day before. But we harvested it, and it already cooked. But right down here in this area, I'll put in some pictures. It was a massive yam, probably about 20, 30 pounds at least. So this is all getting cleared, and it's going to be replanted with snow peas or sugar snap peas for the winter. So hopefully we'll get a lot of yield out of that. So I really should have cut the fire blight out of this loquat tree before Costa Rica, but that's going to be on my list of things to do today. If you see the big dead section, I do think that this is a multi-trunk loquat, and so it might be taking out a whole entire tree, but for sure that disease is a struggle, and yeah, it's tough to see so much of it because that was a big, beautiful tree. We have just no damage, I mean, other than maybe a little discoloration of leaf miner damage already, but the older leaves are all good. Almost all the citrus. Here's some more blossom. Come see this. The flies are pollinating right now on this fantastic. So there are quite a bit of avocado blossoms and potential for avocados this year. And then our other job, I'm literally stepping on them, is to bring in the loofah, because I don't even know if you can capture it, but there's a lot of loofah up there in the top of this tree in this area. And a lot of them also will, you know, they're too green, so there won't be any value in them. But they've made a curtain we have to step under. All right. Let's go this way. Hey, there's still a squirrel in the garden. Hey, buddy. So, the Radinator is getting primed to be set. This is the new purchase that will hopefully help reduce the rat population. And so it's fully open now, but I'm going to close it up and set it in another night or two. This garden over here, the calendula performed through the freeze, but all of the broccolis that were transplants are a little bit toasted. So this is going to get replanted. Lots of good chickweed and other things. A little bit more frozen papaya. There's probably not much to see here, other than lots of wood ear on my big mulberry tree. This pond is totally cracked and will go dry. The koi actually passed when I was in Costa Rica, but it just shows how much rain we got. We got a lot to fill it. It was totally empty yesterday. So this is pretty cool to see. Under the canopy we have unfrozen monstera, and under the canopy, after you zoom in here, right behind you, there's another philodendron, right, climbing up this tree that's completely unfrozen. And that's just a testament to the microclimate, you know, just under the canopy, and how it's a little bit warmer, and how that 30-degree threshold, it really never froze. If it was below 32, those leaves would have been damaged. So it did not freeze those leaves, and that's pretty cool. This avocado, even though it's young, it has new buds, probably going to try and flower, but you know, unprotected, it was fine. And here's another papaya, completely undamaged, little seedling papaya. So it never froze because of the canopy of the trees up above, holding in the heat, because of the mulch and all the activity. So this star fruit is completely undamaged. Even at the top up there, it looks pretty good. Maybe a couple of the outermost leaves, but not much. And then this is another yam that needs to be dug up. Right here is going to be a massive, you can actually see the ground swelling because of it. But we'll pull out some more food. What else? No damage there, even with tender growth. Here's some damage. So Suriname Cherry has a little bit of damage on the tips. Same with this star fruit right behind. It has a little bit of damage on it as well. But nothing incredibly severe, just leaf damage, not stem damage. We've got fruit. So there was Kishu seedless that we saw, but there's a few Changshu, and this tree, you know, battling through some disease issues. I can give this to the camera person. But still made some fruit and hopefully has a better year next year. And look across the way, look at all of them. This is definitely the place to hang out if you're a chicken or a duck, but it's very wet, so we're not going to go all the way towards the back. But If you look that way, the biggest avocado is blooming. It's got some blooms on it, and all the tropicals behind me have done really well. So we have Cherry of the Rio Grande with like 0 damage. We have Suriname Cherry right back there with just a little damage. We have banana with damage, guava with damage, but Jaboticaba with 0 damage from that 30-degree freeze. That's the little ones by the blue barrel that you can't even see. But anyway, the garden looks pretty good. We made it through the freeze without too much damage, and I'm going to be around, so if another big freeze comes, I'll be able to protect what's left. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.